The views expressed in this podcast, Champ and Tramp, belong to the host and guest, not the Champ and Tramp podcast itself. It's intended for entertainment information, so please use discretion. We're not responsible for any outcomes resulting from the content discussed.
Guys, do we have a deal for you?
Oh yeah, Carnivor Protein Hydration. My favorite protein is 55% off.
Yes, you can grab this for just $19.99, and that's under $1 per serving.
Pretty crazy. You're getting 20 grams of beef protein isolate plus the key electrolytes for hydration for under $20. This product is perfect for everyone that goes hard in their sport.
Exactly. Save big, recover better, and get juiced up with Carnivor Protein Hydration. Let's go.
Real show, here we go. Real show, here we go. You know that it's gotta be that time, so this is what we chant. What keeps on getting them all amped in advance? Come on. You and I rocking out with Iron Man, FE. You get the general's point of view on top of Roger's rants. We're never tapping out, we're putting the most minutes in. You already know what that's about, you know that winners win. Crush whatever's on task, check the podcast. It's the Champ and the Tramp, let the bomb blast.
What's up, Jack? Thank you so much for taking some time to sit with us.
Are you kidding me? Thank you. This is great.
Appreciate it. What's up, Tom's River Hub? How are you? What's going on, Ribs?
Yeah, let's go.
So much appreciate everybody coming out tonight. We are Champ and the Tramp podcast. We are definitely not known for our political commentary, but you know what we do represent? We represent New Jersey. We represent the common man. We represent the common voter, and we were not going to pass up this opportunity to sit down with you, ask you some questions, and kind of put you on the spot a little bit. Jack, you ready?
Listen, if you're running for governor,
That's right.
It's okay to put me on the spot.
Absolutely.
But I appreciate the opportunity. This is great.
So I think my first question would be to you. You know, many New Jerseyans, I would say most New Jerseyans, are very concerned with cost of living right now, right? I mean, cost of living is through the roof. I would say that it would be a fair statement to say that most people nowadays are living almost paycheck to paycheck. Taxes are going through the roof. I know here in Tom's River there's some hikes coming for us. New Jersey is not a very affordable state to live in. If you become our next governor of the great state of New Jersey, how do you intend to combat that and make this a more affordable state for families to live in?
So there's three things I could do right off the bat. Number one, reduce the size and cost of a bloated state government. When we do that, we can afford a tax cut for individuals and for businesses. Pennsylvania's doing that. We can do it too. Okay. Next thing I can do to help relieve the affordability crisis, everyone knows what's going on with their monthly electric bill.
Yes.
Okay, that's all on the current administration. My opponent is blaming it on President Trump. He's got nothing to do with the price of electricity in New Jersey. Right. The current administration shut down 6 different electricity generation plants. I'll reopen them. I'll open up 3 or 4 new natural gas ones. We'll expand our nuclear footprint down in South Jersey, and we'll get the price of electricity down. The third thing we need to do on day one is a new school funding formula, because Tom's River is one of many across the state that's getting screwed.
Yes.
It's not getting its fair share of state aid to schools.
$175 million in state cuts this year.
Right. I mean, I think our taxes went up 21% in the past 2 years.
Right. So what happens when you get less state aid for your schools? You got one of two choices. You can either really start selling buildings, laying off teachers, and increasing class sizes, which is what they've had to do. But what they've also to do is raise property taxes to offset the loss of aid. Right. We need a new school funding formula that stops screwing our suburban communities, and you'll get that under Governor Ciattarelli. So those are 3 things we can do out of the gate. Tax cut for business individuals, lower electricity bills, new school funding formula means lower property taxes in case you get more state aid for your schools.
Would you ever consider like a Doge?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that most New Jerseyans, I think most people across the country would support that because, you know, nobody really knows where our tax money's going these days, you know what I mean? And I think that obviously it had its naysayers, but I think overall across the board, most people were in support of Doge.
So I'm a CPA. I'm a CPA. We love audits.
Right.
What we have in the state of New Jersey is a committee for state investigations whose job it is to identify fraud in state government. The CEO of that agency recently had to resign for fraud.
Okay.
Only in Phil Murphy's, New Jersey.
Yeah, right.
But we also have a state comptroller whose job it is to identify waste and inefficiency. I'm going to put the two of them together. The Committee for State Investigations, along with the comptroller, put it underneath one auditor general, and that will be your New Jersey Department of Governmental Efficiency.
Understood. You talked about, the price of electricity going up, obviously 20%, going to go up this year alone. You talked about opening, nuclear power plants. I'm a supporter of that. any chance the one that we have here locally down in Lacey Township, right?
Lacey
Oyster
Township.
Creek, yeah.
Oyster Creek could
So
reopen?
we're looking at everything that Murphy closed down. He closed down one nuclear plant and 5 coal burning plants. And we're looking to reopen everything we can, burn more electricity to get the price down. But here's the other important thing about producing more electricity. And by the way, when Phil Murphy took office in 2018, we were an electricity exporter. We produced more than we needed. Today we have to import it through these exchanges, which is why the price is so high. But we're losing business to Pennsylvania. These data centers that are needed to support AI and the mining of cryptocurrency, they're building them in Pennsylvania. That's an economic development. That puts middle-class people to work to build these things and then to operate them. And we're losing that opportunity right now to Pennsylvania.
Since we're on the topic of energy, let's talk about the windmills a little bit. What is your general feeling on that? I'm friends with a lot of fishermen, from the area, a lot of lobster fishermen, a lot of commercialized fishermen. They have a serious issue with it. Obviously anybody across the country, worldwide, is concerned with the whales that are washing up on our shores, the dolphins. Do you believe that is attributed in any way to the windmills?
No one is ever going to convince me that putting hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of these pilings into the ocean floor off our Jersey shore in 100 feet of water doesn't disturb the ecology of the ocean. Frank, you're not going to ever change me. Come on.
Amen.
Listen, when have we had that many whales washing the shore?
Never.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, isn't it interesting that since they stopped drilling, doing all the sonar mapping because the whole thing has collapsed, you don't see it.
It stopped. Right.
Right?
Yeah.
That's no
right.
coincidence.
Correct.
But I've been opposed. I've been opposed to these wind farms from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Bad for the ocean, bad for recreational fishing, bad for commercial fishing. They're a major part of the Jersey Shore economy.
They're not super efficient either, from what I hear.
They're not super efficient, and it's terribly expensive. And here's the irresponsible thing that Phil Murphy did. I mean, any businessman, businesswoman, before they bring something new online, they let the old system continue. There's a little bit of overlap, and when the new thing works, you stop the old thing. He shut down 6 different electricity generation plants without one turbine producing electricity. And then the whole thing collapsed. So where are we today?
They still aren't producing electricity, but correct me if I'm wrong, none of that was given to American companies, right? Wasn't it Dutch companies that got the contracts?
Yes, and to your point, how do you achieve energy independence when you give $1 billion of our money through subsidies away to foreign companies to put wind farms off our Jersey shore? It doesn't work. The whole thing has collapsed, but we got to start producing electricity again real soon.
I agree.
This is one's for my wife. How about the plastic bags? Are we going to get plastic bags back in Jersey? Listen, I refuse to buy a bag when I go to ShopRite. I'll carry things in my pocket.
Same way, brother.
So let me tell you what happens on day one of a Ciattarelli administration. Number 1, no wind farms. Number 2, we open up all the electrical generation plants I talked about. Number 3, we're getting rid of the electrical vehicle mandate.
Yes.
Right, within a few
by
years,
2035. Yes.
The Delaware governor just got rid of his, and he's a Democrat, saying it doesn't make any sense.
Look at California.
I'm not telling you how to heat your home. I'm not telling you what appliance you have to buy. And at the supermarket, you get back your plastic bags.
There you go. There you go.
Listen.
You know what I always say? If you saw the trunk of my car for how many times I forgot to bring in those bags and I buy 3 more, you probably wouldn't vote for me.
Yeah.
I have yet to see a turtle with a straw in his nose yet. So.
Yeah, for sure.
We're fathers. Obviously, you're a father. We met your lovely daughter a minute ago. The school system is obviously of great concern to us as well. We used to be in the highest in the country for testing scores. They're starting to recently plummet. We just talked about the underfunding, especially in our area. There's a $175 million deficit that has to be made up somehow. It always gets passed on to the common, person, and we end up paying for it in taxes. But more concerning than that, how do we ensure that our children are to get the funding to the school systems that they need for a proper education?
Man, you guys have done your homework, because this is one of the top 4 issues in this year's race, public education. And to your point, we've recently slipped from 2 to 12 on the national report card.
I saw that.
Meanwhile, Louisiana went from 48 to 32. It's something I've called for post-pandemic. With all that learning loss, Murphy's owned by the teachers union, leadership, and closed down schools for 2 years. And my opponent supports that. We need a high-impact curriculum. That's what they did in Louisiana. What's a high-impact curriculum? If our children is behind grade level in reading, writing, and math, they spend the entire next marking period doing nothing other than reading, writing, math to get you up to grade level. because the data is pretty clear. If you're not on grade level by the time you come out of 8th grade, you'll be underemployed your whole life.
Yeah.
That's not fair to the individual. So we need a high-impact curriculum and get back to basics in teaching critical life skills in our schools. I'm also a believer as a father. I've got 4 children, one of which are into the trades. He's a very successful licensed diesel mechanic. Not all kids want or need to go to college.
Couldn't agree with you more.
agree.
I think more emphasis has to be put on the trades.
We need more emphasis on trades. That's not only fair for the kid. Guess what industry needs?
Yeah, right.
Everywhere I
Qualified
go,
people,
Frankie.
yeah.
Especially the way AI is coming.
Everywhere I go, you talk to business owners, Jack, I can't find this. I can't find welders. I can't find diesel mechanics. I can't find electricians, plumbers. So we're going to get back to emphasizing vocational training when I'm governor.
Amen. Obviously, in 2021, right, there was some tomfoolery, some people thought, with the election. You know, they thought there might have been some election interference. Let's not talk about that, because that's obviously water under the bridge. That's behind us now. But how do we ensure that moving forward in 2025 that we have an honest and integral election?
So 21 was one of our closest races in history, and I didn't concede for 11 days, and no system is perfect. So are there 5 or 10,000 fraudulent votes statewide? Possibly. But I want to assure everybody, nothing nefarious was going on or systemic fraud. But here's what I'll do to perfect the system. We are going to have voter ID when I'm governor.
Yeah.
16 other states have voter ID. I think it's a very reasonable measure. You got to show an ID to get a beer.
Yeah.
This is what gets me about Murphy. When I was on a debate stage and I said I supported voter ID, he called that a racist position.
Unbelievable.
I think it's racist to suggest that black and brown people don't have
They can't get
an ID.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amen.
But here's the other thing that makes it hypocritical. This guy signed into law a bill that says over-the-counter cough medicine is behind the counter now because some people are using it to get high. So guess what you have to show the pharmacist to get the over-the-counter cough medicine?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how is it's racist to show ID to vote, but not racist to show ID to get your cough medicine?
Yeah, right.
It's the easiest thing to label. It's the easiest thing to say.
It's the easiest thing to say.
When you don't have an argument, you don't have
Yeah.
an opposing point of view.
Right.
That's what you go with.
But let me also say this. If you're somebody that gets a vote by mail ballot at home and you haven't used it in 3 consecutive elections, you're getting a notice from the clerk that you now have to vote in person. We're not going to let you waste taxpayer dollars. We're sending you a vote by mail ballot.
Right.
You're not even using it.
Amen.
Right?
So we want to ensure you're not a dead person voting from home as well.
Well, the other thing I feel strongly about is that your vote by mail ballot should only ever be mailed to your New Jersey principal address. We're sending it all around the country to college kids, not knowing if you dropped out, transferred, or graduated. Send it to your address. If it gets forwarded, it gets forwarded. But we shouldn't be sending vote by mail ballots for New Jersey elections all around the country.
Speaking of that last election, is there anything you would have done differently in the last election?
What's different this time around is the landscape. The issues that I was talking about, that we're talking about now, were percolating in 21. Now they're at a boil, right? School funding, electricity, public safety, which we have to get to, public education. What's different this time around is I'm not contending with a pandemic. It wasn't easy running for governor when there was shelter-in-place order. I'm not going against an incumbent. And the other thing is there was so much indifference last time because people didn't think I could win. The closeness of my race and Trump's run last year, he was close, right? Has proven to people.
You have the nod from him now, so congratulations on that.
Appreciate that,
But
Rod.
we do live in a blue state. Does that help you or hurt you?
Well, listen, it's blue when it comes to presidential elections. The last Republican presidential candidate to win New Jersey was George Herbert Bush in '88. But over that same 40-year span, Republicans have won 6 of the last 11 governor races.
Right.
That's not blue.
No,
That's
you're right.
purple with a tint of red.
You're right.
Yeah.
We win governor races.
Especially in this county.
Especially in this county.
right.
Sure.
So as close as we came, and now I don't have a pandemic, I'm not running against an incumbent. There's a lot less indifference. People now know we can win, and there's something else. Since I ran for governor in 21, 46 months in a row, new Republican registrations have outpaced new Democratic registrations, and today, compared to 21, there's 100,000 fewer Democrats and 200,000 more registered Republicans.
I really do believe the tide is turning. People are tired.
They've had it.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go.
As a whole, there has been a loss of faith in elected officials, both sides, Republican and Democrat. But I think that, in our state especially, over the last 8 years, people have lost faith in, what Murphy has done for us, and they want something new.
Well, think about his policies now. Energy, he's failed us.
Yes.
Education, we talked about, he's failed us. Overdevelopment, right? We see all this overdevelopment with this Mount Laurel. He's failed us. Law enforcement. He doesn't support local cops. Talk to your local cops. He's handcuffed them. Why do we have flash mobs on our Jersey Shore?
Right. Very close to us.
They don't let them use canines for crowd control.
That's
right.
So that job's already hard enough.
It's hard enough. So all of his policies have failed. She supports his policies. And then she endorses Mondami out of New York City. And he returns the favor, endorses her. So, and one other thing that I remind people all the time, Corzine wasn't from New Jersey. We saw how that worked out. Murphy isn't from New Jersey. We see how that's working out. She's not from New Jersey. So one thing I always say to folks is, how about we elect a Jersey guy?
Yeah, come on.
Since you said that, let's give you a couple softball questions here. You are a Jersey guy, right?
We've been here for 100 years.
Exactly. Is it gravy or is it sauce?
Come on, man, it's gravy.
All right, Sunday gravy, baby.
And it ain't pasta, it's macaroni.
Is it tail or ham or pork roll?
Depends on where you are.
Yeah, right. All right. You're up north,
if you're in North Jersey, it's tail or ham. South Jersey, it's pork roll.
Right.
You know, you got to know where you are.
Yeah, all right, you passed the test. You passed the test.
2 days ago, I'm down South Jersey. It's go Birds. It's go Birds.
Amen.
That's great.
So, but listen, it's the Labor Day weekend. It's been a great summer at the Jersey Shore. I'll tell you something else I want to do when I'm governor. Executive order: no public school or public university or college in this state can open up for business prior to Labor Day.
I like that one.
Why is that important? The
But-
Jersey Shore economy is 1/7 of our state economy.
Absolutely.
You know what happens when all these kids go back to college early?
It stops.
You talk to the employers now at the Jersey Shore. They lose labor. Right? And people aren't. We saw it today at the Jersey Shore. We're working. It's not as crowded because people have gone back to college. This is a way of life in New Jersey.
It is.
Jersey Shore summer. Let it run through Labor Day, and then we'll get back to it.
Couldn't agree more.
Absolutely.
So,
what's your favorite diner?
oh man,
How about that? We won't say favorite diner. Favorite thing to get at the diner.
oh BLT on toasted rye.
There you go.
BLT on toasted rye with French fries and a pickle. Come on.
How about Italian restaurant? What's your favorite Italian restaurant?
Wow.
I know, it's hard to pick one, right?
You're going to get
Hard
in
to pick
trouble
one.
here.
Again, I think you would have to signify North Jersey or downtown because North Jersey is going to have a little better selection.
Here's what I will say. Some of the best Italian restaurants in New Jersey are owned by Albanians.
Yeah, that is true. Diners too. I will say it is getting better down here because everybody's moving down here. You know what I mean?
I hear
so
you.
the eateries are getting better for sure. For sure.
Listen, there's 564 towns, but there's about 600 diners. We do this thing called the Diner Tour. People love it. But I do it for another reason. Not only do I want to promote diners because they're iconic for New Jersey,
absolutely.
But I'm telling you, and I don't just go into diners in Republican towns. You go into diners, the people tell you straight up how you're doing. And the thing that told me that we were going to win in 21 is the vibe I got in the diners. And of course, we didn't win. It was real close. But this time around, the vibe is off the charts.
Great.
Yeah. So I love it. But listen, this is a great place too. We love our bars. And the Ciattarellis were restaurant bar owners.
Yes, that's great.
So this is in my bloodstream a little bit. You know?
Tony's amazing. Tony's had us in many times, and he definitely supports local causes. I don't know if you know, before you came in here, there was a charity event for a local gentleman that had a bad motorcycle accident. Tony hosted it. Yeah, he's always giving back to the community.
Well, that explains why there were so many bikers out front. I got to say hello to all of them.
Exactly.
And one of them, Dan, I don't know if he's still here. He's a Marine, a retired Marine. So it was great to see the guys out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
you
go ahead, Frankie.
I'm saying, you got a great reception. You know, this is definitely, I believe, a Jack Ciattarelli crowd.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, it is a Ciattarelli crowd, and we do know that Ocean County, Toms River are red, right? If the rest of the state was as red as Ocean County, this would be easy.
We had some close ones last presidential election. There was a lot that were right on the. I think it was the closest one in a long time.
The presidential.
Not
only that, do you know the president from 2020 to 2024 improved by more than 10 points in New Jersey? Of the 50 states, it was the greatest improvement. The greatest improvement. So, and it's great to have the president on board. We spoke on the phone week before last. We're going to be speaking again next week, and I really appreciate the fact that he's offered to help us in any way that we see fit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of swing voters out there. There's a lot of independent voters. If you could speak to them directly, can you tell them why they would want to vote for Jack and not Mikey Sherrill?
I think one of the things that differentiates us the most is the Ciattarellis have been here for 100 years. Yes. Each one of us has been small business owners in this state. We understand what's going on. I've been a two-time business owner that's created jobs, but I've also had the privilege of serving at every level of government, municipal, county, and state, always terming myself, 2 terms at each level. And I know what the hell's going on. And if you look at some of her interviews, she can't answer the questions.
Right.
And shame on her. You're running for, this is serious stuff.
Now,
You're running for the governor of Jersey, and you can't answer questions like,
Have you guys
what are you
debated?
doing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
town hall debate?
Was there a debate?
So there'll be 2 debates by law. Okay. She just turned down the third. WCBS News out of New York, Channel 2, requested us to debate, and she declined. So a little bit of a bunker mentality going on here. They're trying to hide her from the public. But listen, people start paying really close attention after Labor Day.
Yeah, I would think that you'd want to hear from the person you're going to vote for. I want to hear what they think and how they feel about the climate of today's New Jersey people.
Well, listen, if either one of you were running for governor, don't you think you have an obligation to get out there every day?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
I mean, definitely. Yeah, I think that's the most
And
important.
you're here. You showed up. No
We
questions
show
asked.
up.
We appreciate that.
We
so
go
much.
anywhere and everywhere,
We
all
really do
around the
appreciate
state.
it, yeah.
That's one of the things that differentiates the most. She's not from New Jersey. And quite frankly, she supports every one of Phil Murphy's failed policies.
Pretty much.
I've yet to hear a policy out of her that differentiates her from Phil Murphy.
Yeah, I just don't understand it. You think people would start waking up to some of these things?
Well, Frankie, I feel it this time around. Again, last time it was a bit of a sleeper. The pandemic had people's attention and people not thinking we could win. And I thought we were going to win in 21. I knew it was going to be close.
Listen, when I went to bed, you were winning.
Yeah, yes.
I woke up. It was one of those
Yes.
20,000 Bergen County vote dumps in the middle of the night. I was like, Jack won, yes.
I will tell you, this time around, the energy feels very different. Very
so, too.
different.
I do.
It's electric all across state. And I'm not just talking about Republicans. We were up in Dover recently, which is Morris County, the heart of my opponent's congressional district. In walks the mayor and endorses me on NJTV. What's the significance of that? He's a Democrat.
Yeah.
Wow.
People have had it.
The tide is turning, for sure.
Tide is turning.
But I think that is why, you spoke to the independent vote is so important this time around.
Well, we always think of politics in terms of Republicans and Democrats. The majority party in this state, unaffiliated independent
Absolutely.
voters, 2.6 million.
Absolutely.
And they're socially, they're moderate on social issues, but they're fiscally conservative.
And they want direct answers. They're tired of filibuster answers. Everybody wants a direct answer. Nobody wants when you ask a question and you get an answer that you don't understand what the person just said. And we want direct answers. You know
So
what I mean?
to your point,
Yeah.
there have been a number of gubernatorial forums, not debates where we go head-to-head, but forums. I speak, answer questions. She speaks, answers questions. We recently did that for the New Jersey Business and Industry Association, which is like a chamber event, 500 people in the audience. And the last question she was asked was a person who goes, says, I need to know your position on the wind farms.
Yes.
And she started talking about how clean the Chesapeake Bay is and that clams and oysters have come back. And I'm like, come on.
Filibuster. People are tired of it. You know what I mean?
They don't like BS, particularly New Jerseyans.
Absolutely.
What are they calling her? They're calling her Vanilla Harris, I think.
East Coast Kamala?
Yeah.
I go with Murphy 2.0, but
yeah.
listen,
Whatever works. The shoe fits, right?
Yeah.
shoe fits.
Yeah.
Let me say something else that I find really offensive. First of all, when she first ran for Congress, she ran in a district she didn't live in. Now, I know it's legal, but that doesn't make it right. The other thing is she's paid federal fines for having broken federal law on stock trades and stock reporting.
Right.
And the other thing that really bothers me, this is somebody who sits on the House Armed Services Committee. And the New York Times reports that she was trading defense stocks while sitting on the House Armed Services Committee.
Well,
Do you not worry
not
about
be
public
allowed.
perception?
Nothing new. That's been talked about for a long time with Nancy Pelosi, for example. And again, we talk about a state kind of localized Doge, and I think like that, people want things like that addressed.
I hear you, man.
They questioned Charlemagne the God on
Did you see that?
the Breakfast Club, I think, questioned her, and she had nothing to say. She had nothing, no response.
No response.
Yeah.
So
Which
she's
is
tripled
a
her net
response.
worth since
Right.
getting to Congress. There's nothing people hate more than when you've used your public office to enrich yourself. And listen, I mean this with the utmost humility. 3 generations of Ciattarellis have been very fortunate because of our own hard work. We've owned our own businesses. This isn't a job I need.
Right.
It's a job I want.
Which
I
is
love
why
the state
so
and
many
I wanna
people
fix it.
respect Donald Trump, because he didn't need it.
Doesn't need the job.
So the same could be said for you.
Yeah. And the other thing that I think differentiates me, and governors on both sides of the aisle have done this in New Jersey over the last 40 years, both sides. I'm not going to Washington. This is my last stop, my final destination. When this is all over in 48 years, I'm going to the beach in Surf City. So I'm not using this to get to Washington.
Right.
And I'm not owned by any special interest.
That's another question I was going to ask. So,
Now,
yeah.
listen, my opponent, the teachers union leadership owns her. The state workers union leadership owns her. Garden State Equality owns her, and on down the line. Once you're owned, you're compromised.
Absolutely.
People have no trust or faith in that. I mean, you can essentially be bought in a legal way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Why did Phil Murphy close our schools for 2 straight years? Because that's what the union leadership wanted.
I believe that's where, Frankie, you guys met the first time, wasn't it? Something.
You came to a school board, Tom's River School Board
Tom's River
session,
School Board.
and made a speech. Yeah, I remember that very well.
And 3 days ago, I was with the Moms for Liberty group, 100 yards from the Statue of Liberty in Liberty State Park, because the Democrats are now introducing bills that virtually make it impossible to homeschool your child.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about
that.
that.
And if you do get the approval to homeschool your child, you have to build things into the homeschool curriculum that are the very reasons you left the public school curriculum to begin with.
Insanity.
I don't think the state
80,000 kids in this state are homeschooled.
We need more parental control in schools.
The state shouldn't have any influence on your kid.
Correct.
Period.
Yeah, exactly.
Period.
Exactly.
So my attorney general on day 1 will do 2 things. Number 1, for law enforcement, we're getting rid of cashless bail.
Yeah. Good.
These are professional criminals that have learned how to game the system.
Amen.
You ask cops about arrest, release, repeat is real because there's no consequence.
Right.
You don't have to post bail, you get out. And in schools, we're getting rid of policy 5756. That's the policy that said that school districts can keep secrets from parents.
No.
So if my son Nick is going to school and then identifies as Nicolette, they're not going to tell me.
Yeah,
It's a parent issue, not a school issue.
yeah.
Thank you,
Right,
Roger.
right.
Our kids are best served when the school district parents are working in partnership,
Absolutely.
not in secret.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, and I would like to keep the boys out of the girls' locker room. If
Well,
that's
listen.
possible.
this is another thing that differentiates me from my opponent. She has voted yes twice. Now, this is a mother of 2 daughters. Voted yes twice to allow biological males to play female sports. Listen,
Girls are already uneasy around girls, and then there could possibly be a boy in the locker room. That's just crazy.
listen, I'm a live and let live guy. Just do me a favor, don't jam your lifestyle down my throat.
Exactly. Yeah.
Same.
Absolutely.
Amen.
And
Absolutely.
with regard to what's going on with our youth, I'm all for making everybody feel welcome,
included. Yeah, for
but
sure.
we want a fair environment.
Yeah.
Make
Biological males playing female sports is not fair.
No, it isn't.
I'm
That
okay
that would
with-
be the end of female sports.
Yeah.
If it continues.
I'm totally okay with making the 1% or the 2% feel comfortable as long as it doesn't alienate and completely make the 98 or 99% completely uncomfortable.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
That's what this is all about.
So there is a happy medium there somewhere, but it's not allowing biological males into biological female bathrooms. It's not.
And this is one
Or
of those
competing
things. This is an 80-20 issue in New Jersey. 8 out of 10 people agree with what we're saying right now.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean we disrespect the other 2.
Agreed.
But I don't understand why we're doing what you just said.
Agreed.
Okay?
Yep.
So, and the fact that she's a mother of 2 daughters, I don't think she'd feel that way if one of her daughters didn't make the team.
Yeah,
No.
because of that. Yeah.
Listen, the sport you competed in, can you imagine?
Yeah.
If biological males were allowed to
It has
participate.
happened. It has
And
happened.
it's happened.
And she broke. Well, he broke the person's face.
Yes.
It's a-
It has happened.
Yeah. Yeah. It's unfortunate. you know.
So, and listen, we're all for parental rights, but the other thing that's going on today is we know there may be youth that suffer from gender dysphoria.
Sure.
But that doesn't mean we should start altering their bodies at a very young age. The
You can't
data
buy
is
cigarettes yet. You can't vote yet. You can't, but you can change your gender. That's insanity.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
And Roger, the medical literature is starting to show that 10 years down the road,
They
'cause
want
this
to
is a-
they
change
have
their minds.
changed back. Yeah.
this is a fairly new phenomenon now,
Right.
right? And we rushed and allowed these surgeries to take place, but what we're seeing now is 10 years later, a great many of them are saying,
I wish I didn't do
Same
that.
as COVID,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Same as the vaccine. There was not enough research done on it. We didn't know the side effects, and it's the same scenario,
same scenario. So, I'm not for vaccine mandates,
Yeah.
and I don't think anybody should ever have to lose their job because they didn't want to be vaccinated.
Correct. It was a hill I would
We
have
don't do
died
that
on.
with the flu.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
That was certainly a hill I would have died on, and a lot of people would have died on. Thank God it wasn't. It was a mandate, never put into law. But the people that have made up their minds, you're not convincing them otherwise. They have made that's a hill they will die on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to respect that.
Yeah.
And
But
if
listen,
you're vaccinated, obviously we're going back in time here. But if you're vaccinated, how am I harming you?
right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. And what we saw at Phil Murphy, they closed the schools but opened up the nursing homes. Now, we know
Yeah,
the people
yeah.
that were most vulnerable
With the elderly.
to the COVID virus, and there was a virus, right?
I believe per capita, New Jersey had the most deaths in the U.S. per capita.
Yes, in the nursing homes.
In the nursing homes,
And
yeah.
guess which nursing homes had the highest death rate? The state-owned and operated veteran homes.
Wow.
The veteran homes. So shame on them.
Yeah, definitely.
New Jersey has one of the highest exit rates for families and businesses leaving New Jersey. I forget the numbers. I wrote them down, but I'm sure you're familiar with them. How do you curb that? How do you keep people in New Jersey and make them want to live here? It's a beautiful state. Listen, I moved here 27 years ago from Maine. Maine's got its own, listen, we could go on about Maine for a while. It's got its own set of problems.
It's a beautiful state.
Yeah, but, I'm a New Jerseyan now. I want to stay here. I'm raising my children here. How do you get people to stay?
So a couple
affordability
things.
is a huge thing, obviously.
So 1 out of 2 New Jerseyans feel the state is on the wrong track. More than 1 out of 2. 2 out of 3 are looking to leave as soon as they can. That's not the state I want to be governor of. So you got to make it a state where people feel confident they can achieve their American dream. Great education, job of their dreams, raising a family, starting a business, retiring here. Those are all the things that people feel really insecure about. That's why they're looking to get out. So what I want to do for young people, your first 2 years out of high school or your first 2 years out of college, tax-free.
Oh, wow.
First-time home buyers, property taxes are capped at 1% of the assessed value of the home. So if the home's assessed at $400,000, your taxes for the first 5 years are $4,000. Help you get a start. For seniors, why don't we do what Pennsylvania does? All retirement income tax-free. Also, what I want to do, you hit age 70, property taxes frozen for life. Wow. Right? Wow. These are just some of the things that we can do. Missouri had a really neat program. If you came to Missouri and went to one of their state colleges or universities, you paid out-of-state tuition, right? If after you graduate, you had 3 years of W-2 earnings from a Missouri employer, guess what Missouri did in year 4? They refunded you cash, the difference between in-state and out-of-state tuition that you paid.
Oh, wow.
What are they trying to do? Get young people to stay, right? So that's something else that we can do. I mean, these are all things.
Viable options for sure, yeah.
Right? So, and particularly for small business, Ciattarellis are all small business owners. My parents owned a restaurant bar. I want to make the first $100,000 of business income tax-free.
Wow, that'd be great.
The first $100,000.
As a new business owner, that'd be nice too.
Tony would love this. The first $100,000 of payroll exempt from employer payroll taxes.
Oh, wow.
Right? And make the gain on the sale of the business tax-free when the time comes.
That'd be fun.
To reward our entrepreneurs for the risks they take on
absolutely.
and the jobs that they create.
Yeah, those people keep it rolling, keep it moving. How about the film industry with Netflix coming to Monmouth, all that stuff? That's got to be some pretty good opportunities.
I support the continuation of the tax credit program for a niche, unique industry, and that is.
Right,
and Netflix is taking root here, and it's good.
Yeah.
But the other thing that bothers me about my opponent when we're talking about taxes, she voted no on President Trump's budget. Now think about what this budget does. It allows you to deduct up to $40,000 of your property taxes on your federal tax credit. It doubles the child care tax credit. So if you got small kids and you're sending the child care, you get a huge credit. Yeah. It doesn't tax tips, overtime, and Social Security. You know how much these workers love that?
Yeah.
Right? Okay? The other thing it does is creates a huge tax credit if you send your kids to private school. Right? She voted no on that bill. Aren't those all good things for New Jersey?
Yeah.
She voted no on that bill. She'll say it's because of what he's doing to Medicaid. Here's what he's doing to Medicaid. If you're on Medicaid, you now have to prove your eligibility. You got to verify your eligibility twice a year, not once a year.
It's the only difference.
But they don't ever explain it that way. They just say he's coming for it, he's taking it away.
Here's the best part about that. Guess who put that in place?
Right.
That you had to verify your eligibility for your Medicaid, which we pay for. Right? Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Joe Biden put it back to once a year. I think it's fair that if we're paying for your health care, you got to verify your eligibility. The other thing they're doing in that bill is that if you're able-bodied and your kids are 15 or older, to remain eligible for Medicaid, you got to give us 20 hours a week. Work, volunteerism, or education. We don't want you just sitting home. We have too many people that luxuriate in the social safety net.
It's collapsing the system, too.
Right?
It's collapsing the system.
That's the point.
We can't maintain that.
Right? I think it's fair. If you're able-bodied and your kids are 15 or older, give us 20 hours a week of something.
Yeah.
But you just can't sit home and luxuriate in the social safety net.
Taken care of,
Social safety net is supposed to be a crutch, not a hammock.
That's right.
We all get off the crutch eventually.
How about that? Is this stat true? They say 1 in 9 people in New Jersey is an illegal immigrant.
I don't know if the percentage is that high, but here's the problem. Our governor, which I'll end on day one, this was never codified by the legislature. It was executive order, which means I can reverse it on day one. And this is executive order number 1. Get rid of the Immigrant Trust Directive, which means that towns can be sanctuary cities, and we're a sanctuary state. that goes away on day one. It encourages illegal immigration, and it handcuffs your police in terms of all the things they could do to keep our community safe.
Yeah.
We had Bill Spady on the show as well, obviously. Congratulations on the Republican nod. But one of the things I do remember that he brought up about you was that you supported driver's licenses for illegals in the state of New Jersey.
Well, here's what I said. I don't know if Donald Trump is going to deport all 14 million people that are here illegally. I think he's done the right thing. You came here illegally, and we find out that you have a history of crime in your country of origin, you're going back.
Yeah. Don't you think that's 98% of America and New Jerseyans?
Absolutely.
Most of us do not have an issue
with that.
Even though, you could make the argument that as soon as you came over the border illegally, you broke the law. That argument certainly holds true. But I don't think most people, we want the worst of the worst gone.
Right.
Gone. And that also means if you came here illegally and you've committed a crime, you're going back. And by the way, my opponent voted no on that bill. That's called the Lake and Riley Act.
Yes. Yeah.
Lake and Riley would still be with us today.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm talking about.
That guy was deported, a couple times, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was allowed to come back.
But I'll go one step further. If you've come here and committed a crime and we deport you to a country that's not an ally, doesn't observe the rule of law, and is not going to incarcerate you, that's not justice.
Yeah.
If you were violated by somebody and they're allowed to go back to their country and go free, that's not justice. And that's why I support the president, because what he's doing with those guys, he's sending them to Guantanamo Bay in Cuba, to prison.
Or El Salvador.
Right. So, but if he doesn't deport everybody, and there's a great many people who've been here 15, 20 years, I believe this, okay? I'm not saying they should have a right to vote. I'm not saying citizenship, but a pathway to recognition. And if that includes having a driver's license, because that's a homeland security issue. We don't
want
people...
How do you differentiate, though? That's a tough thing to differentiate between those who are here assimilating and those who are contributing to our way of life and our government, and those who are not and that are doing bad things that are here illegal.
I guess
how do you differentiate?
The ones that commit
DMV
crimes
can't do that.
Pretty easy.
Oh no,
the DMV can't do that. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But what the DMV can do for these people is if you can't pull up your record, and if you cannot produce a U.S. birth certificate,
right?
Yeah, everyone has their birth certificate. Right. I'm 64. I got my birth certificate. If you can't produce your birth certificate, and by the way, if you lost yours, you go back to the county clerk. Yeah. But no person who's here illegally can do that.
Correct.
So, but I don't think it's good to have people living in the shadows. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And I don't think that Donald Trump, the president, is going to deport all 16 million.
That's not who he's gone after. Yeah. It's not who he's gone after. Despite the narrative from the other side, that is not who he's targeting. Right.
And guys, you and I both know there's a great many American citizens who've employed undocumented immigrants because no one else showed up.
Right.
Yep. So,
and I always say this to him, like, I get it where they're coming from in a way. You're born on this side of the land, and all the opportunities on that side of the land. I'm probably going to take a chance to get to that side of the land.
Having said that, here's what I don't agree with, and I'm sure you guys agree. The 14th Amendment was never about you crossing the border, giving birth, and that person's an American citizen. It wasn't about that. It was more about the slaves, what were formerly slaves, in terms of giving them their citizenship. So I believe that we have to reform birthright citizenship. I don't think you should be allowed to just cross the border, give birth. You cross the border illegally.
Right.
Illegally give birth, and that child is an American citizen. I don't believe that. And the other thing I don't believe is you should just be able to cross the border, claim asylum, and we don't have your case abdicated for 3 to 5 years, and we don't know where the hell you are, right? So we got to reform the way people seek asylum, and I think we have to reform birthright citizenship.
Yeah, agreed. Changing gears here a little bit, let's talk about Second Amendment a little bit. New Jersey has the toughest gun laws on the books. Frankie and I are both concealed carry. We both have our concealed carry license. Both are 2A supporters. Would you do anything? Obviously, I'm going to take a little flack for this, considering what just happened in Minnesota.
Yes.
Probably maybe not the best time for this question, but would you do anything to make it easier for law-abiding citizens?
So a couple of things. In a free society that has a mental health crisis,
absolutely,
there are going to be things that break our heart.
Sure.
Right? Yep. So, and our heart goes out to all the victims and their families of Minnesota. Listen, if it was up to Phil Murphy and my opponent, they would repeal the Second Amendment.
I know.
But because they can't repeal it, what they'll do is they'll restrict it, and they'll make it damn expensive.
And change it constantly.
Right.
You got to be a scholar to stay up on where you can and can't carry.
And here's the hypocrisy in Phil Murphy. When the Bruin decision came down, that said that you had a right to
Landmark
conceal and carry.
decision, yeah.
He held a press conference and said, watch the rise in violent crime in New Jersey.
Never happened.
3 months ago, he had a press conference celebrating the decrease.
Yeah.
in
Never happened.
Right.
And I think all of us knew that it would not be that way.
So what we're going to do is roll back the fees to make it less expensive, more affordable, particularly for middle class, and roll back every one of the things they put in place that don't make any sense.
There's a lot of constitutional carry states. My home state of Maine is one. I'm not saying that we need that here. Obviously, there's some big differences between New Jersey and Maine, but I do think that it does. You didn't. People like Frankie and I should not have to jump through hoops, literally,
Right.
to gain that.
And if
You know
there's
what I
an
mean?
imminent threat to your well-being, it shouldn't take 2 months to get it approved.
Agreed.
So my state police will work in closer contact with local PDs on the background checks, particularly for those that might have an imminent threat, to get you that permit approved quicker.
Yeah.
Instead of people having to wait so
about
long.
the
So
10
I
round
respect
mags?
the Second Amendment.
I wouldn't even argue with that. That's even okay by me. I'm okay with certain restrictions. If that makes, again, I'll just say the other side happy. I'm okay with some restrictions. I'm okay with jumping through a few
I think
hoops.
restrictions
But you
need
make
to make
it
sense,
almost.
though. They need to make sense.
I mean, you make it almost impossible. You know what I mean? They
The other
make it,
thing I
not you.
support is to stand your ground.
Yes.
If somebody's in your home,
Correct.
that's an intruder.
Yeah.
And you have to assume that it's reasonable to assume
You have
there's
a family.
threat
you have
to
a
your
family. No way.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. They're
Yeah.
in your home.
Right.
They're in your home.
Agreed.
So let me tell you something else that we have to do as we're talking about, because I had a friend recently in Ocean County, left his Rolex and his car keys on the kitchen counter, went up to bed with his wife. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. People broke in, left the Rolex, took the keys, and a car theft.
It's the
Nonviolent crime is through the roof in the
Yeah.
state right
Yes.
now. Break-ins,
Yes.
car
Car
thefts,
thefts in our
flash
area
mobs
are
in the
through the
malls in Jersey Shore.
Few friends.
We need juvenile justice reform.
Yes.
And for me, it comes down to this. If you're 16 or 17 and you break the law, we're charging you as an adult.
Yeah.
If you can go a year without another offense, I'll expunge your record so you go into life with a clean slate. If you're under 16, we're going to find the parents. There's
Just going to say, it's my personal belief that the parents are responsible for that
Roger,
type of behavior. But-
there's got to be a consequence. There's got to be a consequence.
Yeah.
So,
and again, you always see the interviews. He was such a good boy. You know what I mean? Never did a thing.
But that's pretty rampant. The people getting dropped off in neighborhoods and going for the key fobs and stuff.
Yep.
Nuts.
and a lot of times they're working for gangs.
Yeah, right. And they go right to the ports. Right
Most
here.
of them go right
to
on
the
a shipping
ports.
container
Right to
and
the
go.
yachts.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're going to do something different in the ports, too, because we're not going to have that happen in New Jersey. I mean, I want to get back to being a law and order state. And for me, this summer in particular, the flash mobs at the Jersey Shore, and then the town had to institute a curfew. Now, think about this for a second. What if I told Tony that on a Friday and Saturday night, he's got to shut down at 9
Kill
o'clock?
his business. It would
Yeah.
kill his business.
So
Yeah.
Jersey Shore, you only got 3 months to make your buck.
Right, and the town will close.
And we're going to take 2 hours a night away from you?
Yeah.
Because our Attorney General won't let us use canines for crowd control,
Right.
won't let us put juveniles in confinement. Do you know that every time one of these kids is brought down to the police station by a cop, they're not allowed to put in confinement? I say give them a taste of the cell.
Yeah.
When the cop has to sit there with the juvenile until the parents show up. So now the cop's off the street for another 3 hours.
Wow.
There's no incentive there not to commit it again. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right.
And listen, I want to believe an overwhelming majority of New Jerseyans agree with what we're talking about right now.
I would think so. I
Safe
would think so.
communities. Let these men and women in blue do their job.
Since we're on the subject, this was low on my list of questions to ask, but since we're on the subject, police, law enforcement, we're big supporters, firemen. I think this question was proposed to you by one of your police officer buddies, pensions. I guess there hasn't been an increase, a cost of living increase in about 15 years. Some of my police officer friends asked me to ask you about that. Will there be any change there?
So one thing I remind all law enforcement professionals and teachers who are willing to listen is I'm not Chris Christie. Many of them, it's not just a scar, it's an open wound because he lied to them. So there's a couple things we need to do. Number one, I've been endorsed by the Retired Police and Firemen's Association because of my COLA proposal.
There's some firemen here tonight as well
Yeah.
that are in support of you. So
And what a lot of people don't realize, the cops in particular, they don't get Social Security from their working years. So how important is that pension? And a great many have not had a COLA, cost of living increase, in 15 to 20 years. So we've got to reinstate the COLA, and I promise to do that.
Good.
We're working into our state budget.
it's going to make some of our pals
Yeah,
happy to hear that for
absolutely.
sure.
And I'll protect their pension through and through. The teachers union loves to scare the teachers by saying Ciattarelli's going to take your pension. It's a lie. So we're going to do everything we can to protect their pension, make sure anybody who's earned a pension is going to get their pension.
That's great. That's great to hear.
Yep.
Hey,
The other thing that's really important, if I may, many of the cops and the teachers are in the state health plan. And the state health plan is on the verge of collapse. Like, for example, this year, if you're in a state health plan and you're on the family plan, the cost of the plan is going from $52,000 up to almost $70,000. Well, if you contribute 1/3 of the cost through your employee contributions, you could be getting a 3 or 4% raise in your pay and getting less take-home pay because of your employee contribution health care. I've told them that I will reform Chapter 78, which requires that, so they're not going home with less take-home pay. I think it's totally unfair, if not criminal, for you to get an increase in your pay, but going home with less. You're going home with less.
Couldn't agree more.
We got to fix this.
Almost 30-year union guy. I know a little something about that. So,
you get it.
Yeah, I've been there
What union?
701.
Very good.
Teamsters,
Yeah. So we've gotten the endorsement of the operating engineers union and bricklayers too. I believe the electricians. So they too want change.
I know some people. I'll make some calls for you, Jack.
Are we okay?
President Trump has been to a few UFC events, obviously.
Yeah.
I've seen him there a couple times.
Recently,
yeah. Now, I'm coming out of retirement. I'm fighting a bare knuckle fight October 4th at Parental Center in Newark.
I'm there.
So maybe we have to get you to make an appearance.
I'd love that, man.
All right.
You're ready to come out of retirement?
Yeah, I'm coming out. It's a bare knuckle fight, a little different organization, but we're going to get after it again.
He's going to do a one and done, and I can't wait.
Thank you.
Hometown
Well, I know
hero,
you won your matches, man. You don't have a single scar.
Yeah. Well, I got good surgeon.
All right, October 4th, the Prudential Center.
Yeah, we'd love to have you there, Jack. We'd love to have you.
I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
I want to thank all the people out here that showed up, but also the people that are flying the colors here.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
So, great energy all around the state.
Yeah, no, it's been phenomenal. Obviously, we go back to 2020 when you were trying to run, or 21 rather, and it's good to finally. I think we were talking about this for a few years, it's good to finally get you on the show. Yeah,
looking forward to it.
We wish you the best. Obviously, the next 2 months are going to be nuts for you, and I'm sure you're going to be running.
It'll go by at warp speed.
Yeah, of course, and we wish all the best. Anything we can do on our end, obviously we're part of the team.
Well, it's 66 days.
Yes.
In 66 days, it's over. And I'm pretty confident with this team, with the energy all across state, and people want change. We're going to deliver a win this time around. I really do believe that.
Awesome.
They're from the people, of the people. I don't know how many gubernatorial candidates we'd be drinking a beer with. So we so much appreciate you coming out, being part of our little small podcast here. And we're very big supporters, and thank you so much, Jack.
Don't be too modest. This is not small. This is a big deal, but this is Jersey.
That's it, baby.
It's Jersey.
That's all day.
Guys, thank
all
you.
Day.
Thank you,
Roger.
Jack. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Well, we hope you can be there. We're going to take you up on that. Yeah, awesome.
All right, guys.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you so much. Champ of
Really
the Tramp.
enjoyed it, guys. Thank you.
What's up, guys? Make sure you follow us on your favorite podcast platforms. You can find the links in the description below. And if you've enjoyed this episode, hit that like button and share it with a friend. Your support keeps us growing.